Hello, everybody, and indeed, welcome to another episode of Durham Unplugged. I'm not even going to say a special guest this time. I have a friend. No, I have a brother. I have
That's it.
My brother,
I like that.
different, adopted, of course, on with me today. We have Tito Dante Marimpietri. Tito, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, but I have to tell you, it's touching to hear that kind of an introduction, considering um, I'm a big fan of yours.
Oh,
The work that
stop. Oh,
you
stop.
do in your community, the fact that you keep everything on point as our seatmate in council, and obviously the work that you continue to do throughout COVID. I think any one of your constituents should be proud and very. I think blessed to have someone like you represent them, and that comes as a friend and also as someone that serves on council with you as a professional. I think the world of you. So congratulations to all the voters who have chosen Sterling Lee.
Okay, well, that was not planned. And this episode will
No, it
not just
wasn't.
be us giving compliments on top of each other, because that's not what
No,
anybody wants to
no.
see.
But that's another episode.
We'll do that down the line. Tito, it looks like you just got out of bed. What's going on, buddy?
This is the natural look. It's the kind of hair that not being able to access some of the
The
services
salons.
that we typically access. Yeah, under anyone that tells you that they're abiding by the COVID restrictions should have hair like this,
No, it's true.
or should be lucky enough to have someone in their family that has those abilities. And obviously, I don't. I'm not good with my hands when it comes to grooming. So obviously. I look a little Kramer-like, but it's nothing like that a hat can't solve. And I think at the end of the day,
Well, that's what I got.
I do. Well, it looks pretty good. Come on, now.
No, I just took
That
a
looks
shower.
good.
That's why. Look how long this thing is. It is.
It is
I
long.
have my wife says
It,
I have anime hair is what I have.
I think you
It
can. I think that's a man.
it's
I
like,
think that's a man bun coming up.
possibly. We're growing it out because I have no
First man
choice.
bun on council. How's that?
Yeah, it'll be the first man bun on regional council, and then I'll get voted out immediately because of that. So I
No
can't wait for
chance.
that.
No chance. It's a hipster thing. Listen, I got to tell you, I think when we talk about local services and the service providers, first responders, frontline workers, whether they be delivering things or in a grocery store, or healthcare workers and our doctors or nurses and practitioners that are helping in our homes for the aged or hospitals at Lake Ridge. You and I, tip our hat and every part of our bodies to them, because they're the real heroes. And I think you probably hear a lot of that, and that sounds cliche, but it's the truth. My father just had major surgery, so I saw firsthand exactly what kind of effort and commitment that these brave individuals have. It's not just the skill in their education, but you've got to be so brave to do what they're doing, and we're so fortunate to have them doing that for our community. So on both of our behalf, I think I bless them with every ounce of recognition.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Tito's father is an institution unto himself at Durham Regional Headquarters. Tito's the only regional councillor whose dad pops in from time to time to just watch him work. And so tell, for those of you who don't know, for those people who don't know, who is your father and why is he coming to your work with you and watching you like a hawk?
He's probably trying to keep an eye on me to make sure that I'm doing what
And I
I
don't
need to
blame
be
him.
doing
I
for
don't
my
blame him. I sit next
constituents.
to you. I don't blame him.
No, he happens to be one of my constituents. So sometimes he or my mom pipe by, and I think he likely drops in to see his former colleagues and to be back in the environment that he served for over 40 years. It was 44 years as a public servant, and he worked at the region, in the works department.
Okay. And I believe that's the committee you were sitting on now. Oh, you're frozen.
Sorry. I don't know what happened.
What kind of internet do you have at your house, Tito?
I feel like saying, Jerry, let me in.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I'm gonna have to edit that out somehow because that was a prolonged break. That has not happened on this. But you know what? It's a work in progress. This is life, man.
This is a great episode. This is
right off the bat.
There's
Well, we're starting so well.
here.
And you cut my legs from under me. Okay, so your dad worked in works, and I was saying that you're now the vice chair in that committee right now, right?
and it's an honor and a privilege to be there and serve in that capacity, because like I was saying, I kind of understand it from both ends. I understand it from, the service that he provided, and for residents, and for the corporation, and I understand it from my end, and what I expect, or can expect from staff, and for residents, for the tax dollars. So it's something that that essential service is something that I pay great respect to in this situation. When you consider COVID, a lot of people turn their taps on and they see the water running and they flush the toilets, and it may not be sexy to say it, but that stuff doesn't happen on its own. We've got a lot of frontline workers there in our plants,
Right.
or on our roads, providing the service that we need to ensure that things continue to operate. So the Works Department is a big part of that.
Now, being on the vice chair of the Works Committee, have you tried water from each of the municipalities to see which has the best tasting water in the region?
I haven't attained my my high quality H2O license
How
from
dare you? And you sit on this committee?
the
How dare
University
you?
of Parma. Actually, I can tell the difference from different areas.
No, you can't.
But
No, so I'm going to stop you right there,
it wouldn't
sir.
be through, it wouldn't be through our water system, though. It would be from maybe someone's well, or a natural spring. But our system is pretty well calibrated, and I think that people are well served by it. We've got some great people working, as scientists, and as chemists, and as technicians. I actually, for 5 summers, served the Ministry of the Environment in the region of Durham at its water pollution control plant over at Duffin Creek. So I wouldn't taste that gray water, but our delicious water that comes out of the Ajax plant, I think, is fantastic.
Oh, we love it, to be honest. I used to come from Toronto. We also always used to filter our water, and then after a while, I just kind of got used to Ajax water, and I think it's quite refreshing, to be honest.
Oh yeah, it's good. Durham water is good.
Yeah, it's a good, and thanks. It's all thanks to Tito. So, folks, if you are
One of the
enjoying
Tito's, at
a
least.
fantastic cup of water, you thank Tito next time you see him.
Yeah, well, that's part of it, I guess.
Now,
Thanks.
Tito, tell me about your career. I feel like I know bits of it, but
Yeah.
I don't know the whole thing. You've been in politics
Mhm.
for how long?
So since 2003, and
Okay.
obviously before that, involved in different community initiatives, as anyone that's ever been interested in politics, or different, working on different campaigns, 2 of which my dad's campaigns, and a few of which some winning campaigns for different members of parliament. And then obviously, taking a leave to go to university, and coming back and hoping to do what I could for the community, and
Where'd you go
put
to school?
forward a different perspective, to advance Oshawa's interests, and with a future outlook. And it's worked out so far. We didn't have a university when I first started here on council. The university was just a concept, and it developed now into something that I consider, and hope will be that industry that elevates not only Oshawa but the region by way of knowledge-based, sector. I went to school at Concordia in Montreal. I went
Okay.
to school at York in Toronto, and I got an opportunity for my studies at York to be sent overseas, and study at a university there. And when I came home, I ran for council, and the rest is history, because I was fortunate enough to receive the support of the community to be elected and serve with you.
So, by the way, you sound like a hostage right now. Okay. I feel like Chair Henry is
Well,
beside you with a gun to your head right now, making you say
I
all these
know.
very
Well,
positive. I appreciate it.
that could be possible, but
Just
it's more of a
relax, have a good time.
self-isolation.
I know,
It's a
honestly.
self-isolation thing.
Now,
Let me tell you something that I'm.
No, I was going to ask you, where overseas did you go to school?
Oh, you know what? It's a really cool story, because I actually just uh, before I got on with you, was responding to a text from one of my former roommates there, and she's got a real art gallery in New York, and she was talking about isolation and art, and how it's affected her. And I hadn't spoken to her, or communicated with her, or heard her voice. Now, because of COVID, we're all into this technology, and able to communicate with one another. But it'd been over a decade, I think, that I hadn't heard her voice, so it was pretty cool. And the last time, I would say, was at the University of Bologna, and that happens to be the oldest university in the world. It was established, I want to say, 1038 or 1138. I'll find it somewhere here in my office. I'll look I'll look for the date, but it's the oldest university in the world. So it was
Cool.
an honor to be there with foreign students from all over the world studying international relations.
And that's in Italy, I'm presuming?
It is. It's in northern Italy. Actually, not too far from the area that's been ravaged by COVID-19, and it's got a renowned medical school and obviously a law school, and it's played a big part in helping, hopefully, Italy reemerge and regain its feet, as we hope our region and the rest of the world does, as we move forward with the pandemic as we see it, and try to hopefully eradicate it in the days, weeks, months, years ahead.
You keep bringing it down, man. We're talking about, wonderful things like Italy, and you're like, yeah, and we're gonna get through this COVID. Let's brighten it up. People are watching this as an escape, sir.
We got to get rid of it to brighten it up. So there's a little bit of reality in there too. But the escape would be that hopefully we get to sit in our council chambers and be able to do what we're doing right now soon, because of what the work that scientists are doing. I think a little bit of the escape is understanding that. And I know that there are a lot of people that probably were convinced that this was some sort of who knows what, but it's not. It's science versus people's opinions. So I hope that regardless of people's political stripes or what unfortunate talk shows they're listening to aside from ours, that people get the fact that science plays a huge role in the lives that they have today. And if we want to continue to have the quality of life that we enjoy, then we need to rely on scientists and be respectful to those who support scientists like we do. I know that times we get people that come forward either at council on a micro level or at parliament on a macro level when they start talking about theories of theirs or things that they've heard on social media, and that's fine. We live in Canada, so we can entertain those theories. But to go further in suggesting that those theories actually happen to have validity would refute what scientists, I believe, in the work that they've done and the kind of quality of life we enjoy afford us. So I caution everyone.
I heard it was a Chinese virus made by my Uncle Lee. Can you confirm or deny that?
Can you see this eyebrow?
Yeah, just want to make sure. That was a stunned silence there.
I'm just trying to find out for myself if I see anything in there that's suspicious.
Yeah,
so far I don't. So
no,
I don't know if I can catch it.
But no, it was one of the more shocking kind of theories of just like this, like China created a virus that not only impacted them, but the rest of the world. I was like, well, if China's going to a virus, wouldn't you not
self-inflicted
unleash? Yeah, why would you unleash it on your own population? It just seems folly. But
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But it's mostly to keep me in my room. And away from you, and not being able to work on our superpowers.
Well, they're not going to break this up. Okay, no virus is going to break this up, as far as I'm concerned. Now, Tito, you are married and you have, I think, 2 or 3 daughters.
2
daughters.
You're predicting the future now.
By the way, your wife's going to talk to you in like 10 minutes. By the way, after this.
No, probably you. She'll talk to you first. I think.
How old are your daughters?
So the girls are, and that's another interesting story. So Martina turned 13 under the COVID restrictions.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, pretty cool. I wish her a happy birthday for you, but it was nice. The whole neighborhood came out and did that drive-by thing because when she first had her birthday, no one was able to do that. So there was some even heavier restrictions. So as things began to be understood, I think some of the people that are taking drives or going for walks and social distancing has been accepted, and so we had the neighborhood drive by, and she was really touched by it, and we were too. And it's really nice to see neighborhoods across the community and the country do that. Ariana is actually 11. She had her birthday a couple months before the pandemic began to affect us. And Rosemary has been putting up with me since 2003. So
fantastic. You've been married 17 years?
I have.
That is
Well, not
remarkable.
17 years, but I mean,
Oh, you guys started dating at least back then.
we did, and we got married in 2006. Yeah, so it's been a while.
So what was your first date with your wife? Do you remember?
We actually went to a concert back in the day, because you're a young buck, and
Was it
I'm
the
going to
Three
start
Tenors?
asking you. No, it was not, but it was Alice in Chains, Stone Temple
Nice.
Pilots, I believe Soundgarden, Creed, and Metallica and the Red Hot Chili Peppers were on a bill at the
Was it
Ontario place.
Lollapalooza? Did you go to Lollapalooza?
Well, it
What is
sounded
that?
like that. It was like tail end of whenever they used to have
These
those sort of
festivals.
concerts. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was at the Ontario place. I still have the ticket. It was really cool. But my favorite band was like the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay.
And as they were like hopping on stage and they were beginning the jam, and it was really nice out. It was a warm summer day. She was like, I think I'm getting tired. I think I gotta get home because I gotta work early. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Like,
that was her
the
first
Peppers
date.
have not come on
Oh
yet.
my God, I can't do it. But I did it. And so the rest is history. So I think it was a good choice.
And wait,
Rose
so
over the Peppers.
your first date was a music, we'll call it like an all-day festival concert with like
Yeah.
huge bands. Like, did you have it? Like, did you guys? Why would that be anyone's first date of getting to know someone?
Because I was like, I bought these tickets before I met you, and you know what? I hope you're into this. And if you're not, and you can stand to be here with me, then maybe maybe there's something there. But
yeah, that's amazing.
All jokes aside, it's I mean, the second date was even funnier because we went not too many days later to a golf course, which I'm not a big golfer,
Right.
more like Happy Gilmore, and so we were there, and she had some family members that inadvertently were there at the same time. It started raining, so we only played 9 holes, and thank God, because they were really on me for the entire first 9 holes when they saw me with their family member. Like, you're dating him? And she was like, this is our second date. And I was like, you're asking me if I'm dating her, or like, what's going on here? So it was kind of
but again, it begs the question, why would a golf tournament be anybody's second date?
It wouldn't.
So
these are the ways of Tito.
Okay, fair enough. I'm learning that. And what was
variety?
What was Tito like when he was younger? Is it pretty much the guy we're seeing now, or?
Yeah, I would say aside from the hair was a little bit longer.
Of course.
The
Which
activities
were
the activities were a little bit less contentious. I think we were more sports and concerts and just sort of academic environments. Obviously, as things change, we trade those arenas for for the real life arenas, like the ones that we're in. But for the most part, I've always tried to be myself, and sometimes that's appreciated. But for the most part, at times it's misunderstood, and that's human nature. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. I think that you do a good job of being yourself at all times, and I think that's my cue to ask you how well you've adjusted in terms of your time on council, because you're married and you've got a little one, and that takes up a lot of your time. So
I do.
How do you find it?
Overall with council, it's been really great. I think the job has allowed me to pick up my kid from daycare, whereas if I worked in Toronto, it probably wouldn't be an opportunity, and we get to spend a lot of time together. So I'm really available to be there for my kid, especially now. Like, I'm virtually a daycare worker right now for my kid, and it's great. We're making up for a lot of time. Overall, in terms of being myself, I think if I ever stopped being myself, then I would stop enjoying whatever job I'm in. And once you stop enjoying the job, that's when it's time to call it quits, right? So my first real kind of career job was for Rogers. I was an area manager, and I loved it. I was in the sales world. I got these cool gadgets.
Always people.
Yeah, it was people. But after a while, I started feeling unsettled, that I was like just selling, and I'd never make these connections again. And I didn't want to be like a career salesman. And so that's when I met Mark Holland, Marky, as you call him. And
one of the best ever.
Good. Yeah, I mean, he's okay. He's okay. No,
He's the best.
he is.
He's got to be the best, Marky.
And he was like, "Hey, why don't you work for me? Why don't you work in a
Yeah.
constituency office for a bit and see if you like the world? Because I think you'd be good at it." And I loved it. And then I've kind of became a regional councillor from there. And I get to sit next to you and
Yep.
Chris Leahy, and we're generally fun people, right?
Yeah.
So it makes
For sure.
council truly enjoyable because I don't have to
Yeah.
be, obviously I'm more proper than I am with my
Yeah.
wife at home, and you have to be, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think I've compromised my sense of humor or any of my sensibilities, and
No.
you've seen me get passionate about certain things, and I like that I have this avenue
Yeah.
to make change through my passion. In a sense, I'm still selling people. Now I'm trying to sell, like people to change the region, the town,
Yeah.
so forth. And that's very humbling. It's really,
Yeah.
I never thought I would be here. I didn't have, probably wasn't like you. I liked politics, but I never
Yeah, me
thought
too.
I'd be in politics. Right. It was very much a surprise to end up here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can see you there. I think you've done a great job. Not because I'm on your show and telling you this, but I really feel that because, when you see people that first get on, and I can say myself too, like when I first started, I was a lot more nervous than you were. That's for sure. At least you've hidden it well because you're articulate right off the bat. You've been instrumental in making change right away, but not in the same way that I was used to, where I had to, try to, sort of tread lightly and sort of do the work behind the scenes, because if I did so up front and sort of in a way that was in the arena, I would, either set someone off or I could be a threat, or I was always worried because I think it was 23 when I got on, but you hit the ground running right away. And I think that's something, whether Mark saw it in you or something that would have happened anyways is besides the point, because I know that he was a regional councillor and I see a lot of similarities in the way he's worked and the way you work. And that's something that maybe it's in the Ajax water, but you guys
I told you,
really,
it's better water.
really,
It's really good water here, man.
no, I mean, I'm going to have to start drinking it because I'm struggling to find, where your superpowers are, because
I
there's no
think you're doing
kryptonite
okay,
there for
man.
you.
I think you're doing okay.
But in all seriousness, I mean, I find like that people, they'll say it's refreshing. It sounds cliche, but I find it more than that. It's actually super cool to see someone like motivate a whole group of people, which happens to be over 30, and in the age group that's well above ours, and have them listen to you the way they do, and have them react the way they do to your initiatives, and have them respect you the way they do. And for being a rookie, that's a pretty big feat, considering a lot of these folks we don't get the opportunity to work with aside from on council. So in the past, I'll tell you, there's been opportunities for us to gel and to go to conferences and to work together in the format of I would say a retreat, some sort, things that they used to do when boomers were running the show, and essentially now things have changed. So we don't get that same opportunities that maybe generations before us and even generations after us will get. We're sort of stuck in the middle of having to navigate between what was expected before and what we want or can foresee. And I think that's something that's been noted, and to see your ease in navigating through that is pretty cool. I love it.
Well, now you're finding out that I'm very uncomfortable with praise of any sorts. So we're going to change the subject right now.
You're in the right business.
Yeah,
if
right.
you want
totally.
praise, don't be into politics.
Don't be a politician. But we're definitely my parents never praised me. It was always never good enough. So this is one thing as an adult I don't know how to do, is receive praise, and I'll always deflect with more humor. So moving on then.
All right, let's do it.
What's the first thing you're going to do once this thing's lifted? So not even like partial lifted. So we kind of get the vaccines out. We kind of recover from it. What's the one big thing you and your family are going to do, or you yourself are going to do?
After the haircut?
Obviously after the haircut.
One big thing that we're going to do after this is said and done, obviously, to find a way to thank the people that were a huge part of making sure that we stayed healthy and we're able to keep our homes and hopefully our jobs and essentially our quality of life as we emerge. I want to be able to thank them, and that would be the healthcare workers and frontline workers. And then after that, try to find a way to get the kids and Rose, my wife, to experience some level of recreation outside of the home, because
sounds like a vacation. Where are we going?
I don't know about vacation, but I think just even being out at a store or in a park or with family that we haven't been able to see for such a long time is probably the biggest desire, because I think they've been really good about staying home and just going for walks or maybe a drive. Social distancing is something they taken seriously, but I mean, I've been doing groceries and errands for my parents, her parents, and our household. So I kind of feel like I've been okay, but mentally and physically, I think and just emotionally, I think they did like to be with some friends and family soon too. It's weighing on them for sure. So that's definitely something that I'm gonna look forward to doing after we emerge.
I'm going to eat the biggest dinner ever at some restaurant which actually reminds me of my favorite Tito story was, so I was working for Mark at the time, and Tito had sent me an invitation for Mark and I. He's like, there's some Italian event happening in Woodbridge or Vaughan. You have to come. It'll mean a lot. And, just say a few words.
I remember that.
Mark's like, for sure. We'll come, and we can't stay long. Tito's like, no, I understand. You guys are busy. Just stay for, some of the food. And we're like, yeah, cool. We'll stay for food.
Yeah.
I guess I had never been to an Italian banquet in a very long time, because I ate probably more food that day than any other day in my life, single-handedly. It was, I'm going to guess, 25 courses. Like, if anyone needs to visualize this, that scene in Goodfellas when she marries the guy, and there's all these people, like all these Italian. I'm pretty sure it was straight out of Goodfellas, and the food was just so.
I think that's what it was.
There was like a cheese, there was a meat, there was a fish, there was every sort.
I remember it.
I think there was a Chinese dish at one point. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, I was drunk on food that night.
It's funny you said that, because we were just talking about that venue with my parents. They're actually now, because they can't serve people in these conditions, they're setting up a catering service, and it includes Chinese food, which is pretty cool, considering the kitchen's only really catered to certain events. They've actually their kids have taken over, and so pretty good small business success there. But I remember that night, and you guys were always so gracious. Mark's always gracious, but I mean, for you were probably just like, you know what, I got better places to be at.
No, that's not true. The food was so good. I did not want to be anywhere else.
Food.
Yeah.
No, it was good. We'll have to do it again.
Yeah.
And I'll make sure of it, because if that's your wish when we emerge, shall it be?
I remember coming home, my wife's like, yeah, I made dinner. And I was like, I'm going to throw up if I eat another bite. So I'm sorry. You enjoy that craft dinner. I ate an Italian feast.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That was really good.
Tito, is there a restaurant, speaking of food, is there somebody you want to plug that people can check out? Really a place you really enjoyed getting takeout from? Or?
Yeah. In the area, we have obviously a number of places that have been really good throughout this time in helping the community. One restaurateur in particular, Bar Burrito, has provided for frontline workers and healthcare workers at Lake Ridge recently boxes and boxes of food. So I know it's a franchise, but it's a local small business owner that operates a number of the franchises in the area. And obviously in these times, it's not the franchise that's on the line, it's theirs. And so it's their family and their well-being on the line. So I saw Stacy actually and Zach providing for Lake Ridge and for frontline workers, and I thought that's pretty cool considering how much they're struggling. So I want to tip my hat to them. Local charity is obviously, there's a lot of them there are a lot of them that are doing good work. But in Oshawa, we have the Backdoor Mission that's done a great deal of work. So if anybody's in Oshawa and wants to, look to a charity that's helping, Backdoor Mission is an entity to look up. They're doing great work, and I know I have a council colleague, Derek Giberson, that's helping them out closely. He's a local councillor in the downtown ward. Good guy. And I would say, if we're looking at a small business that's impacted in terms of innovative sort of provisions or retooling and taking on some of the initiatives that Marky helped champion at the federal level with our government and the Prime Minister, I would say Canada Rubber is a really cool success story, along with All for One, I believe, craft breweries in Oshawa. They're producing disinfectant, not the kind that the president would like everyone to use, but the disinfectant that, happens to be, what do we call it? Hand wash or kind of like Purell, but alcohol sort of disinfectant for people to sanitize and make sure that they're safe as they're manipulating objects and products. But Canada Rubber happens to be a small business guy that got going with his father, who retired, and they retooled their environment to produce almost as many masks as what Bauer Canada is producing, and they're based within the region, and they're producing, I believe, anything from 15 to 20,000 masks a day, which is unbelievable. Amazing. Because they didn't do it on the basis of simply the government incentive, and that they were going to wait and wait and wait like some other giants have, and then all of a sudden retool. They did it like within days of the pandemic being announced, and I thought that was something that really spoke volumes to the fact that they wanted to help. So it's more of a goodness out of their heart. Sure, they're employing people and they're keeping things going, but really that's not their primary, I guess, product. Not even close. So the fact that they're providing our country with the kind of PPEs that they're spinning off within days of the pandemic being announced is way ahead of the curve than anyone else that's sort of waited for the incentives and saw how that business proposition would weigh out for their bottom line. So hats off to Dave. Can you hear me?
Yep.
See me? Yeah. So hats off to Dave Cameron at Canada Rubber.
Cool. And I'll put a link to the website in the comments of this video. Speaking of comments and whatnot, where can people find you on social media?
Mm-hmm. Social media, there's a number of different spots where you can find me on Instagram. Usually my full name, because I'm very good with acronyms, right?
I find the best social media are longer, are really long and hard to spell. So I mean, you nailed it, buddy.
Exactly. So you won't have a problem of mine, because it's my full name, Tito Dante Marimpietri. Instagram, if you are on TikTok, if you are on Facebook, or if you're on what's the other one that we use typically, Twitter, I guess. But I don't use it as much as you do. But I think if you want to go to those sites,
I'm going to ask you same thing I asked Liz Roy. What are you doing on TikTok?
I have two little ones. I have to make sure that I can keep up.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Or else I will not be relevant at home.
Right. That is absolutely fair.
It's
Tito,
Tinder that you have to ask questions about, not TikTok.
Well, which we don't know anything about that. What? I don't even know that.
Exactly.
Tito, thank you so much for taking the time to come on. It was like I said, it's an absolute pleasure to sit with you, and I'm looking forward to sitting next to you again and messing up your hair.
I am. As long as you're wearing a man bun, we'll get along.
Not in council, sir.
How's that? I'll keep my hair the way it is, and you keep yours.
Okay. Well,
all right.
Again, thanks for everyone
for watching. Say hi to the family.
I will, and to you and yours, and to everyone else for watching. Thanks so much, and we'll see you in another episode of Durham Unplugged. Thanks, everyone.